Good evening and welcome to the FE Bar. I'm your host, Jack George Maynard, and with me tonight, as ever, is Jack Pickering. We had another doubleheader in Berlin, which saw Nick Cassidy and Antonio Felix da Costa come out on top. We had another Peloton-style race in Berlin. What did you make of them? Was it actually a good one? As always, we want to hear from you and your thoughts on the race, so make sure you join the Discord and get in the waiting room to have your say on the show. Mr. Pickering. Hello, everybody in chat, by the way. And yes, Saz, I'm talking to you, Saz. Yes, Saz. I fixed Nightbot. It was my fault. It was always my fault. It was always my fault. But it's fixed, so you can caps as much as you like, you can send us emojis as much as you like, and all of that should be fine. But I hope you're all well, and I hope you all enjoyed the Berlin E-Prix, because we've got a lot to talk about tonight. It's a packed show, and we've got some special guest appearances coming on a little bit later. But first, Mr. Pickering, what on earth is behind you?
I'm delighted to say that tonight we are joined by the 2014 winner of the Eurovision Song Contest, Conchita Wurst.
Woo! Mate,
the cardboard, not in the flesh.
I cannot believe that you have a full cardboard size cutout of that.
So
what is the story?
Right, so 2021, we've been out Eurovision. We'd been out of Eurovision for a year through COVID. And it was just when they said you're allowed to meet with people outside. You can't have people inside, but you can have people outside. So we set up the marquee in the back garden. And I thought, how do I make this super big, and just super fun? And so what I thought is like, why don't I just cardboard cut out someone? So I just Googled people, Googled Graham, Googled a few other people, but Conchita was the one that that I went for in the end, and. They come out once a year, don't you, love? And so they came out over the weekend. Woo, gay reference. So yeah, brought it down, and had a very enjoyable Saturday night, even though I was umming and ahhing about watching it, if I'm completely honest.
Yes.
I know,
we won't get too much into Eurovision, but we will talk about what did you get up to, because it was absolutely amazing. I'll start, but I'll go back to you in 2 seconds, because obviously we did a bit of a meetup in Berlin. There's quite a few people who are in the chat, who were in the Discord, who came along, which was absolutely amazing to see, and I loved it to pieces, to be honest with you. But what on earth did you get up to on Eurovision night Saturday?
So yeah, it was. I genuinely, and this is something that you wouldn't really expect of me, but I was genuinely going to my mates on about 2 p.m. on the Saturday. Should we watch Casino Royale instead? Because I really wasn't feeling it. It was just after the Netherlands had got disqualified for just having a word with a camera woman, apparently. So we know where the line is drawn now. You can't have an argument with any of the personnel there, but genocide. You're good. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a very fun night. We have our traditional mega mix. So a mate of mine puts together a 90-minute bumper, back-to-back Eurovision classics. And then then we get into the contest, and honestly, so happy for Nemo. Absolutely deserved the win, and it's weirdly the third time in 4 years that my favourite has won, and my favourite in the year that didn't win was Sam Ryder, and we came second.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, but post-COVID, I've had fantastic taste. It seems.
Yeah. Well, all that you should be making some money. Putting the bets down, making sure.
Well, but Nemo was the favourite.
I thought Croatia was the favourite, but anyway.
Croatia became the favourite with about a week to go, and then it was Israel for about a day, and then it went back to Croatia. Croatia again would have been a worthy winner. Baby Lasagna was absolutely incredible. I'm very happy that it was between those two. It was a fantastic night. And am a little bit tired because I only had 2 hours sleep Saturday to Sunday. And then on top of that, I had I've just seen you do the dance move of
Yep.
baby lasagna on the screen. That's the time delay, everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah. So yeah, I slept like a baby last night, but I am still quite tired. So
Indeed.
yeah.
I think
But don't worry, I've seen the majority of both races.
good.
So
I think what us in the Discord chat and the people in chat, we were out till the end, basically about 1 o'clock, and then we all sort of just rushed into a taxi home. I think I got back to my hotel about 1:30, and somehow, don't ask me why, I woke up at 6 o'clock, bang on the dot, 1:30. I was back in my hotel. Time you fall asleep, I would say it was pretty quick. 6 o'clock in the morning. Why am I awake? I set my alarm for 7:15. 5 minutes I was a walk from the track, and I was like, what? So at least I got to the track, but trust me, by 2 o'clock, an hour before the race, I sat down, and I was like, I need to go on. I was luckily on the grid on Sunday, but I was like,
yeah, no, you were spotted. You were spotted, mate.
I was spotted. I know, I'm famous. I could have gone to sleep. I literally could have gone to sleep, but I suppose we need to talk about the Formula E and the races that we had.
I will say while just before we don't talk about Eurovision again. I people will be confused because on the camera they can't see this, so I'm gonna have to pull it up. But I've got a Dali Freya from Iceland Think About Things jumper on. So that's the other Eurovision reference. I've also got the 2020 trophy. So
nice. Haven't broken that one.
No, I haven't broken that one. Yeah, Nemo. This is what it's supposed to look like. Yeah.
But anyway,
right.
So
End of Eurovision.
End of Eurovision, onto the Formula E, because what a weekend we've had, by the way. Like, firstly, I want to talk about just in general. Okay, what did you make of the track first, right? Because obviously we had a new track layout in Berlin. I know you've watched a bit on TV. What did you make of it?
I thought it was fine. I mean, it wasn't. Well, the track was fine. I feel that they can do. The thing is with Berlin is it's a completely blank space. Yes, they're kind of limited in terms of what they can and can't do, but I feel that what they could have done potentially more with it. That run into turn one and then into. I was going to call it what Tom Brooks called it on the stream, but turn two. It's like sky something.
Can't remember, to be honest with you.
If it was David Croft, it'd be Sky Q and Sky Glass Customer. But yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called. If someone on chat remembers what it is, put it in. But yeah, no, so yeah, that was a bit wild. But and I liked the multi apex last corner. I do feel that they've lost that really long sort of corner that went back on itself on the old circuit. And also, I'm intrigued to see if the trophy has changed this year, because that's got the old Berlin
of
layout.
Course, that will never change. Yeah. That will never change. The championship trophy will never change.
Even though it's the worst it's the worst trophy of all of them.
I assume it's still got like Santiago and New York on the back of it. I don't know how it's changed.
I'm assuming it has, yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a bit short. I was a bit disappointed when they were doing 1 minute 1 and 1 minute 2 lap times, considering it was 5 or 6 seconds longer in last season and so forth. So that disappointed me. I thought it was a decent layout, but it wasn't spectacular. No. Although you could really, especially on the back straight after turn 6-7, and when they came back, there was a little that bridge there was how we were able to get to the paddock and so forth. And watching the cars come through that section, especially at 350, and the difference between a 350 kilowatt hour lap and a 300 kilowatt hour lap it's crazy. Like a 350 is quick. Like it surprises you how quick it was. I thought it was good. Obviously we saw 2 peloton style races again. What did you actually like, before we get into the winners and of the race and so forth? What did you make of the peloton? Because I know what our opinions are, but I kind of sat down on Saturday and I was like, I don't think it was that bad. And then I thought, you know what, Sunday, I went old school. I decided, Peak, I'm going to watch the race from the track. So I spotted a little paddock. There was a little bit between the entrance to the pit lane and then the turn 6-7, they kind of like converged on each other, and the paddock was in
And-
between there with the
Sorry,
pit lane.
sorry. You went outside and didn't get sunburned.
No, I didn't get sunburnt. No,
Wow, well
I did
done.
it. Yeah, thank you very much.
On Thursday, I went out to see George Russell fly around fly around Silverstone in the 21 Merc. I only went out for 10 minutes and I got sunburnt.
Yeah, and that's typical us basically. To be fair, I was feeling it on my neck. But I was wearing that like a green shirt, and I had a t-shirt which kind of went up to like here. But I was brave. I was brave.
So I'll take out the product placement there, but this is kept by the side of my bed. It's anti-sun
cream,
Yeah.
like after sun. That's the one.
That's
But anyway,
what it's called. Anti-sun.
not anti-sun. After
Kill the sun.
anti-sun. After sun. That's what I wanted to say.
After sun is correct.
That's what I wanted to say. But anyway, so I was watching in between the two basically where the pit lane was, and the other side was turn 6-7. I thought, because obviously on the Saturday race, a lot of action happened at that turn 6-7 double apex corner. I thought, I'm going to watch there, and I'm going to watch this for my own eyes to have a look, and that's why I want tons of you. So those of you that were at the track on Sunday or the weekend, if you're back in time and you're able to come on and let us know, I'd love to know what it was like in the grandstands, because I wasn't in a grandstand, so maybe it would have been a slightly bit better in the grandstands. I don't know how much you would have seen, especially if you were high up on the start straight. You might have even been able to see over the top into the 6-7 and what you actually made of the Peloton Star Race, because I went and watched it for myself, and I was still indifferent. I was still like, yeah, okay, they're changing, but it was really cool, like, because you see so much more. Even though I was watching in between the pit lane and turn 6-7, I felt like I knew what was happening more in the race. I did have the big screen to help me, but like, you see the back, like I was like, oh, why is Jordan King so slow? Like, oh, okay, make a note of that. Dan Ticktum stuck behind Jordan King. Like, why is he not passing? Why is Jordan so slow? And then it was great for the media pen, because when I went to Jordan, I was like, mate, I know exactly what your race was like, because I watched it, because that would never have been picked up on the TV of what he was actually trying to do. And then so I had a really good understanding of what his race. I liked it because it was old fashioned, but I didn't get that sense of excitement by watching the peloton. Well, seeing them all just dive into turn 6 and jostling, changing, and hearing the lifts, because you could really hear the lifts going into that corner. I was like, it didn't grip me. I didn't feel like it was any better watching the race outside than it was watching it in the media center. I didn't feel like, I thought, oh yeah, watching this outside and seeing it with my own eyes made it such a better spectacle than if I was just watching it at my TV. I didn't feel it, but I wasn't in the grandstand. I was literally running from fence to fence to have a look, and maybe with a bit more of a bird's eye view, potentially, it could have been better. But what did you think of the Peloton Star Race? Because obviously you would have watched it on the TV. Like, what was your views on it? And for me, it didn't strike me as anything special. But once on the Saturday's race, I was like, there might have been a good Peloton. I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know how much of a Peloton Saturday's race really was, because there was only about 5 racing laps out of the entire race.
Yeah, I suppose.
How many safety cars do you want in one race? It was chaos.
It was very, but the chaos as well with the order, and that's another bad thing really for Formula E. Is when Scott was like, okay, we got to put him there and him there and him there, and it's like, what?
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'd personally. And this is going to be a very controversial opinion here. I preferred Misano.
Really?
Genuinely, yeah. I felt that the Misano race had more structure, really. Like, even though, like, this felt more sort of chaotic, and I'm not sure whether that's because the walls are close because it's a street circuit, but yeah, like, honestly, yeah, the fact that, like, people just flying around the outside. I'll be honest, like the Dennis Verline stuff in race 2, that was crazy.
That was good fun, I thought.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what Nato was doing to Fenestras either.
Well, we interviewed Nato as well, so we've got that.
I watched it, and yeah, so yeah, I watched that one, and I was
did own up.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah. I mean, like, it was 2 solid races. But yeah,
I've seen in chat, Sundays was a bit less with the 38 laps. It did take him a while, but there was a lot of chopping and changing at the front. And I thought Porsche, tried to do that roadblock. And I did ask Antonio Felix da Costa if that was something they talked about. And they did say it was, but they just couldn't do it for the whole race.
The thing is with this, and it just goes back to why aren't they giving the cars the amount of power why are they restricting the capacity of how much power they can use in these races? Because surely you can give them a few kilowatts more and then extend the race by a couple laps or something, but so we don't have these flat out peloton style races, because it's just I just don't understand it, mate. Yeah.
Well, let's talk Cassidy though, because if there was one man that I thought he's just I don't know, dominant.
Mr. Peloton.
Yeah,
Mr.
I know.
Peloton.
Saunders did call him the Prince of Peloton in the Saturday, in which he quickly was like, "Nah, I'm not. No Prince of Peloton for me, mate."
I will say also, considering that Ollie Rowland didn't do half the season last year, he's
Oliver Rowland.
He's mega at these Peloton races.
Yeah, he
just always cycles to the front when it's the perfect time.
Yeah, he's done really well. But for me, right, in this title fight, which I still think, I know Andretti had a little bit of a resurgence, and it'll be interesting to see if that continues in Shanghai. But at this precise moment, I'm looking at Cassidy, and I'm like, the way how aggressive he is, and he gets away with it. He doesn't get his front wing caught up. Sometimes he does, but over the last couple of races he hasn't, and did really well in Monaco, did really won in Saturday, finished P2 on the Sunday, and you're like, the way he was just aggressive and he kept his way at the front. And I'm looking at Verline, and I was speaking to Nick Golding, and he was like, Verline doesn't have to be aggressive, but I was like, mate, he now does have to be aggressive. And I just think that's Verline's slight weakness. I don't think he's aggressive enough in these Peloton style races, maybe to try and just stay out of trouble, which is fair play, right? But Cassidy is so aggressive, and I think with Shanghai being a Peloton, with Portland being a Peloton, I know things can happen, but Cassidy for me is in the box seat.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that Cassidy's absolutely smashed it this season, and this was what we were wondering about what was going to happen when he jumped into what is basically Mitch's team. This Jag has always been Mitch's team, and he's just jumped into it, and he's taken to it like a duck to water. Indeed. He's been absolutely fantastic this season, and yeah, I think genuinely it wouldn't surprise me if he does wrap it up maybe as early as Portland.
Indeed. Well, I don't know. I think it'll go to London, because Formula
I think
is
it
crazy.
Probably will go to London.
It depends on how healthy.
Yeah, you
Cassidy's
never know.
And you have to remember, Cassidy was 21st on the 21st lap, and then he went on to win it.
Sorry, what?
He was 21st. He was last. He was on the 21st lap. He was last.
I don't think I must have joined by that bit.
He was last at 21st.
I only saw the last 15 laps, and I'm not sure if Josh or Ed, I'm not sure whether he's listening or not, but I was listening to them in the car for the first 25 laps of the race. So
yeah. He was 21st.
And they were doing fantastic
on lap 21. You need to. Why didn't you watch the interviews?
I need to. I watched some of them. I watched some of them. Weirdly enough, mate, I was a little bit preoccupied on Saturday night.
I know it's Eurovision, but you've got to be prepared for the show. But anyway.
I watched some of them yesterday.
Right, why don't I show you the Cassidy interview, right? Why don't we listen to it, right? Yeah. Now, I'm going to try something, chat, right? If you can hear it, just put thumbs up, right? Because then it's working. Because how I've been doing it for the last couple of shows, and I think there is a little bit of an echo, and I think I can solve that, but I just need a thumbs up. So if it doesn't work, I'll go back to the old way of doing it. But if it does work, just give a thumbs up in chat.
Does it matter if I do a thumbs up? Or
you can do a thumbs up. That's good.
Yeah.
Right. Let's hear from Cassidy.
All right.
Obviously, a crazy race. Just explain to me why you dropped to 21st, because that was the question on everyone's mind. Why were you down there in 21st place?
I was just really slow.
It's got to be not slow. Was it not just, were you trying to save energy? Was that the plan?
I wouldn't say it was completely the plan, but yeah, it was struggling a little bit today. Didn't have great speed and just did what I could. And we didn't give up. We fell back, but we come back, which was really nice.
Yeah, I know you were jokingly saying you were slow, but if you said in there that you were struggling to pace, and that you want to work on making sure the car was quick enough for tomorrow. So what changed in those 20 laps then to make you go from 21st to the lead?
A few little settings, with balance. I think we got a little bit better balance throughout the race. But
impressive.
Hey,
congrats, man.
Thanks, man. Cheers. Hey, thanks, buddy. So that was a little bit, but I think we kind of know what we need to do. We just need to sit down tonight, go through it, and make some changes for tomorrow. But I'm quite excited about FP3 to be able to do that, have that chance, and see how it's like.
Yeah, because obviously last thing for me, just track surface, because obviously track surface here in Berlin is completely different. Do you think that made a massive effect to why you were 9th and 10th in qualifying? I know that you were promoted with Jay Hahn's penalty.
Yeah, exactly. I think as a 4-car group, we've been struggling a bit this weekend. A little bit with the surface, but tonight we'll try and improve and see where we are tomorrow.
All right, good. Best of luck. Thank you. And we are back before the music drowns us out. He said, he jokingly said he was slow, right? But he wasn't slow. People were saying he was saving energy, but the thing is with Nick, he doesn't really give much away. Right, he never does in his interviews, and basically everyone was saying that over the last on Sunday it's like, oh, you do what Cassidy do, drop back, save the energy, and then just fight your way through the field. But the fact that he was 21st and was able to fight through the field to win the race was incredible, Pico.
Yeah, incredible. So much so I didn't know anything about it
Exactly.
till that interview. But yeah, no, I think it just shows where Formula E really is at the moment with these sorts of races, is the fact that you can just drop all the way to the back of the field and just and then just go, do you know what, I'm just gonna go now, and then just go from 21st all the way to first. That's absolutely crazy. Is it like on paper that sounds absolutely insane?
Yeah.
Whereas the reality is, yeah, no, that sounds about right, to be honest. Like, because the thing is, it is a group of 21 cars.
Yeah.
If really it is that is how Formula E sort of works now.
Yeah, at the moment it does.
Yeah.
And then Antonio Felix da Costa obviously winning Sunday. Like, we talked mentality, Misano for him, right? And finally this one has stayed. Thank God for him. And you felt like that. He's like, he felt like he couldn't fully celebrate. He was like, just in case, let's just wait and let's just wait. But like, mentality, again, like, he's proven that he's good enough, right? And I know there's talk about his future, but I think he's done enough to keep that seat. And I think he's just been a bit unlucky at Porsche. I think he's done enough. And I think, again, he's dared to pick up the pieces. It could have been on another day, it could have been a 1-2 for Porsche, but he's there and he does a great job.
Technically, he's won the same amount of races as Pascal Wehrlein this year. Obviously, he got that one of them taken away from him in Misano, which was a really cruel thing to happen.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, he has showed the speed, and yes, at the start of the year he was given an ultimatum and gone and told by Porsche, you're not doing WEC. You have to focus on FE, do good in FE, and then we'll go from there.
Yep.
And he's really stepped up, and I think he has stepped up his game. Then that's not saying that Da Costa hadn't stepped up his game before. He's just been really unlucky. If you think back to London last year, he got that disqualification. Well, no, it wasn't.
Second place.
It was a 3-minute penalty, which felt ridiculous, to be honest, considering considering that London, that they had. That was the one with the late red flag with like 3 to go.
Yeah.
And so it was literally with one racing lap and he got a 3-minute penalty. All you need to do was give him 20 drive through and he would have finished last. So 3 minutes made absolutely zero sense to me with that. But that's going off a different tangent. Personally, Da Costa's been amazing so far. And he deserves to be in that seat. And yes, there's all these rumours with Nico Muller potentially coming in to the Porsche Works team, and it would be harsh on Antonio, but yeah,
it is what it is. So what we're going to do then is we'll hear from Antonio Felix da Costa and what he said on his mentality.
Firstly, obviously, congratulations. It feels like a well-deserved win, obviously, from Misano and coming back. And I think that it's a statement of mentality because, obviously, I know a lot of things have been said in the media, but in terms of you coming in Misano and then coming here and doing it again in Berlin, it speaks a lot about your mentality.
Yeah, I was never doubted that I wasn't going to be able to come back swinging after Riyadh. I was sure. It's just a matter of time and how. But yeah, you are right. It's never easy. Unfortunately for me, I've been used to kind of climbing back out of bad moments and hard, difficult moments. So I know well how to deal with them. But yeah, it's resilience. I think it's the word redemption. And yeah, I'm not one to throw a towel on the ground ever. And yeah, as long as I'm standing, I'll be here fighting.
Yeah, I want to talk about the start of the race because when you and Pascal were 1 and 2, it looked like going into turn 6 and turn 7 that you were trying to create some form of roadblock. I suppose 2 cars, going side by side into that corner would have stopped any attacks from anyone else. Was that kind of the plan to try and keep people behind?
Honestly, we had a very quick conversation about trying something crazy like that, literally like 20 minutes before the race. The track is still very wide and you still give people the opportunity to come through if they want, but we were trying to make their life a little bit harder. So I think it worked, but it's not sustainable for the whole race. I think we can try and do it for a certain key moments of the race, and it worked well. But yeah, let's see. I think we can do better.
Yeah, in terms of lastly from me, just because obviously we probably having pelotons now in Shanghai and Portland again, is there anything that you can learn from this race, or is each peloton race different and their own and unique to themselves?
I think that the trick really is really to keep an open mind and be dynamic, because you try to create these plans in your head, but at the end it's always very tricky to kind of fully execute them because you can't control what other 21 drivers are doing around you. So you do have these plans, and you know what it takes to win a race like this, but at the end you need to keep your mentality quite dynamic, quite open, and yeah, we seem to do well in these races, and yeah, we should have at least another 4 of these until the end of the year. I don't think London will be like this, so yeah, try and capitalize on them.
All right, thank you, well done.
So yeah, a great result from Costa. So before we get some of you in, because we've got some people in the waiting room ready, and they've been very patient, but we've been chatting away for a little bit of a while. So we're going to get some people in a moment. But before we do that, we will get the championship standings up. And here they are, and hopefully the graphic works, and it didn't. Well, not as... Oh, there we go. I was going to say, hold on, what was that? But there we go. Here he is. So Nick Cassidy currently then leading the way with 142 points. Pascal Wehrlein is in second with 124. So you can see Cassidy is getting a small, tiny little bit of a gap at the moment. But, he's still catchable from Wehrlein. But Cassidy at the moment still doing a grand job. Roland there in third. Even though he's really consistent, I thought he'd be a bit closer, to be honest with you. But not at the moment on 118. Jake Dennis there on 102. Mitch Evans just falling away at the moment. And you feel for Mitch Evans potentially, Pico, because at some point he might be, Jaguar might favour Cassidy, and that might not help him that much. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I personally, I think Jaguar will be fair on both of them until it's no longer apparent that either Mitch or Nick are in this fight.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be mathematically not we're coming into London, they're both in the fight, but we're going to prioritise this one because they're ahead. They'll give them equal opportunities, and that's... Yeah, because that, I think, is the Jaguar mentality. Obviously, the team comes first, but and that's across all the teams, everything.
Yeah,
the team comes before the drivers, and so they need to make sure that they maintain their position. But they're doing fantastically.
Yeah,
anyway,
of course they are. So then Jean-Eric Verne, who's not happy at all with the peloton style races. We'll talk about Jean-Eric Verne a little bit later, but he's there in 6 on 84. Maximilian Gunther on 65 after double DNF for him in his home race in Berlin. Antonio Felix moves himself up from 10th to 8th on 59 points. Stoffel Van Dorn 43, and Sam Bird, despite missing both races, still rounds out the top 10. And that is a look at the championship standings. Should we get our first person in? I think we should get Nikki in. Nikki's been in there waiting for ages. I don't know what the running order is at the moment, actually. But I think...
They don't mind.
So I think... So if we just grab Nikki in, because I know she wanted to say she's been in there for a while.
Okay, well, we've grabbed Nikki.
Nikki, welcome to the FE Bar. How are you?
I'm all right, guys. Are you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
Not bad.
How was Berlin for you? I hope you had a good weekend.
I've got a bit of a rant, people.
We love a rant. Come on then. What do you want to tell us?
I basically absolutely hate the style of racing that's going on at the moment, especially with what happened in Berlin with the incidents that happened and the wings coming off and people getting thrown up in the air, literally, when they were banging into each other.
Yep.
I forgot about that. Yeah. It was, Sasha, was it? He was thrown in the air?
Sasha and Norman, wasn't it?
Well,
Or
yeah,
Sasha
well,
and
they
whoever it
collided,
was.
but that wasn't really anything to do with the peloton style. But
No. I think it was Sasha who went up as well. On
Yeah.
the exit of turn.
I think it was 9 or 8.
Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to.
are we
I'm
talking
trying
about
to
the same
corner
incident
them.
here? I can't remember Sasha being in the air.
That type, I think it was in the Saturday race where like 3 were trying to go around the corner.
Yep.
And then someone.
So many
Was it
incidences that you lose track.
Was it Stoff who punted Sasha into the air? I can't remember. If it wasn't, I apologise to Stoff, and I can't remember who it is. But
No, but my point is, I just think it's dangerous and I don't like it. But there's parts of it I like, but parts of it I don't like.
This is the interesting debate, right? Okay, let's go. You said there's parts of it that you like. What are the parts of it that you like?
The fact that somebody for an example, what happened on Saturday with Nick Cassidy, for an example, that made the race exciting. Like going from 21st to win the race, that did make it exciting. But then you've got other people in the pack that are getting broken wings and things on a regular basis. Someone say I don't know, for an example, Jake Hughes, for an example.
Yeah.
Who's always getting bashed into or always losing a wing.
Yeah.
So then that's the parts of the peloton that I don't like.
So this is the interesting thing, right? And I suppose Vern, Pico, and Nikki, to be fair, Vern is very adamant that he doesn't like this style of racing, and we were going to talk to him, but it hit 5:10, and basically Vern wanted to leave, and he was like, mate, I ain't speaking to the media, because if I speak to the media, I get told off. And I'm like, mate, I won't say anything, they'll get you told off, mate. Let's just have a conversation. Just one quick question. Let's just not say anything controversial here, and we'll have a happy day. I'm happy, you're happy, come on. But he was like, nah, mate, I'm off. And then I saw him at the airport on the same flight as me, which was mad. We'll get onto that a little bit.
Did you have a chat then? Or
No,
not?
we didn't. He was already sat up in business class, or speaking to his person that he was speaking to. But, the drivers but the majority of the drivers are pretty anti-peloton, and I think, what was it, I think someone asked Paul Aaron as well, was like, would you consider this, and he didn't really give a straight answer if this was the style of racing, but and it's just like, okay, and it's just interesting that the drivers are a bit, I would say, and if the drivers start walking out because of the peloton style of racing, potentially that's dangerous for Formula E, potentially, Nikki.
Yes, but look at all the accidents we've had since Gen 3 started. Robin Freitz with his hand, Sam Bird and Mitch Evans in Rome, and then Sam again this year in Monaco.
Yeah. But Sam in Monaco wasn't peloton. That was just his.
No, but what I'm saying is it because the cars are getting faster?
Yes.
Or is it the style of racing that we have, or is it a bit of both?
Well, the style of racing doesn't help, right? And we were having this discussion. I don't know what you think, Pico. The reason why the dangerous crashes haven't happened is because they're probably not going fast enough.
So it's not like Formula 1 speed, for an example.
Yeah.
It's also because they're quite talented drivers.
Well, that too, but it's like...
there are some accidents that should have happened that didn't, and that's... Yeah, they are... Do you know what? They're pretty good at driving, But yeah, I mean, with the hands being broken, I mean, it's fantastic that from Gen 4 that power steering's Is it power steering that's finally coming in from
think
Gen
so,
4?
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was Gen 3 or Gen 4. So those
I
incidents
think
should
it's.
not happen again
I think.
from season 12 onwards.
I think they're actually putting it in the. I think they're trying to put it in. Aren't they in the new one that's coming out in season 11?
I don't know because I
Or
think that would be a big.
Not
some
sure.
form of
I
it?
think so because the driver's saying
Not
doesn't
sure,
change
but
much. So
I doubt
I'd have to have
it,
another look at
No.
it. To be honest with you, at the top of my head,
I can't remember what was said.
I don't think. I just think it's just faster, right? It's that acceleration of 1.82 seconds and being quicker than F1 and it being that game changer.
And also, another point that you brought up, Nikki, is that the wings are going to change from next year, and I think from what it looks like, they're going to be a little bit stronger as well.
They look like they're thicker, don't they, at the top?
Yeah, definitely. Instead, because the thing is, I think the front wing was the one that was like universally mentioned as soon as the Gen 3 got released.
Yeah.
Like the car looks alright. Yeah, it looked like a Dorito a bit, which was literally everyone's called it Dorito for the past 2 years.
Yeah,
But
it's gone on.
Especially the McLaren being orange.
yeah, but but yeah, the front wing was the one that everyone was talking about. That said, oh, it looks like a 4-year-old has designed it. It looks like it was designed at quarter to pub on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that people have been like nagging about for years and years, and thankfully that's going to change next season.
Hope so.
Fingers crossed. So
But
right, let's just before we wrap up and let you go, let's just really delve in because I know I'm not the biggest Peloton fan myself, and I know we've got 2 more races of this, but you agreed that there are some entertaining areas.
Yeah,
from
cool.
it. So
Cool.
if you were Formula E, right? If you're, let's say you're Jeff Dodds, right? You are the new CEO of Formula E. And you're telling people that this style of racing, it's bringing in the casual fans and so forth, but you want to try and keep hardcore fans and you want to keep the drivers happy. Is there a happy medium? Is there something that could be done? How could we improve it so we have some of the elements of the Peloton, but we still have good racing that the drivers are happy to talk about?
You see, also for me as well, what's dangerous, or maybe it's because I come from like in Formula One. Going down the track in Berlin, for an example, like four cars wide in certain areas, and I'm like sitting watching like Formula E with my hands across my face because I seriously think that someone's gonna is there going to be like a 2 or 3 car pileup, for an example?
But I would argue there if they were going right. Let's imagine Formula One, right, and you're on the Baku circuit, right. They could go 4 wide into turn 1. They could go 4 wide on that straight, right? If they've got the slipstream, and if they were Formula E cars, similar to Formula E cars, yeah, we'd wince, but you'd kind of trust the driver to be able to stop the car and get it done, right? And not to cause the crash, right? So yeah, we winced. Yep. I don't know how many times I winced during that race, but they didn't crash. I just winced thinking, oh, that's close, but they got through because they know what they're doing.
So what I'm saying is that's exciting, but there's just parts of it that are dangerous to me. So maybe I need to watch maybe a couple more before I actually make a decision whether I like it or not.
So yeah, because we'll see what Shanghai. And that's what I kind of said to Costa, and I don't know if you agree with this, Pico. Like I don't know what your opinions are on it in terms of are every Peloton race the same? Is there something that you can learn from them, or are they different? But the Costa was like you can learn, but it seems like it doesn't matter what you learn because you don't know if X is going to wipe you out.
I will say that with Shanghai, I do think that it will be a little bit better of a Peloton race purely because if you think about it, that people will be lifting off into turn 1. But turn 1 is the corner where you lift off anyways, whatever you're driving.
Yeah.
Because you don't actually really brake because it's a gradual decreasing of speed going round that little snail bit. So yeah.
But Nikki, I'm going to end it there because we've got a couple more that we need to get on. But yeah, it's interesting. I think if we come back after Shanghai and Portland, I know we can talk about those races, but maybe we bring this conversation back and then we'll have a proper discussion once, because London won't be a peloton. So we'll have a proper
No.
discussion of what we've made. Because even for me, like, I've been negative of them. I went and saw it from my own eyes. I was like, it's okay, right? So I maybe get what some of the hype is about, but I think come Shanghai, Portland, we'll have a proper conversation and see if anything happens from then.
Can I just say this one final point?
Of course you can.
Jack, please. I'm not saying that the drivers are dangerous or not. They can't drive, because every single driver, every single guy in that championship is talented.
Yep.
I just think it's the style of racing that's dangerous, not necessarily the the driving or the driver.
I 100% agree with that, because as I said, it's like when Formula 1 drivers were asking for the safety car when it was heavy rain and it wasn't coming out, and they were waiting for a crash to happen, and then they brought the safety car and they said, can you just bring the safety car out before? And they did that, right? And then that's why it's very quick to throw the red flag in heavy rain now. And I think we all feel the same, that something could happen. And if these races were to carry on in Gen 4 and so forth, then with the cars being significantly faster, then I think, you're even more scared. So I'm hoping that by the time we get to Gen 4, this will change. I don't know if Gen 3.5 Evo or Gen whatever it is, Gen 3 Evo will change it, but we'll have to wait and see. But Nikki, thank you so much.
We'll just have to wait until season 11, won't we? So
yeah, indeed we will. So thank you so much for coming on there. I really appreciate you talking to us.
No problem, Jack.
Perfect. Right, should we get my good friend now, Danikin?
Right, let's.
We'll run till 9 o'clock, and then we'll take a break for 9 o'clock for a special guest at 9. Danique, you're here. Hello again.
Hello.
It was a pleasure meeting you for the first time in Berlin.
Hello again, indeed.
Yes, it was good fun. Now I wanted to talk about track experience.
It was a lot of
right?
fun indeed.
It was. I want to talk about track experience and what it was like actually being in the grandstands, and you were in the grandstands. What did you make of the race?
So, I personally, I'm not a big fan of the peloton style racing, purely because the stress it gives me as a fan, because I like so many of the drivers.
Yep.
I was happy with the results after all, but like especially the last 10 laps, I think it was so chaotic. The drivers kept changing lead and kept changing position at the top 6, 7, I think, that it was like, what is
Hard
even
to
going
keep up.
on? We had no idea who was gonna be at the podium even.
But
So it was
is that
so
a good
hard
thing
to keep up.
that you went into the last 6 laps not knowing
with-
who was going to be on the podium? Or is that not a
So-
good thing?
on the one hand, yes, but on the other hand, with how much it was changing, the fact that it was like, then there's Evans P1, and then all of a sudden Evans is P6 and Cassidy is P1 and all of that. In my opinion, it wasn't the greatest, because it was just so stressful and everyone kept dropping and leading and switching. And it was a bit too much for my liking.
What was
Because we've had it in other races in the past, like Rome a couple of years ago, and Monaco, I remember, where the lead did change quite a lot, but not as much as it did here, where it was still a lot more enjoyable track side as well.
Yeah, indeed.
So
what was
that's my opinion on the peloton.
what was the vibe in the grandstands? Like, was there like general excitement? Did you feel like there was like a general excitement in the grandstands, or was it kind of just subdued? What was it like?
I think there was definitely quite a lot of excitement. You definitely had the more casual fans that mainly came because F1 is so expensive, or because there's no F1 in Germany and Formula E is the next best thing, racing wise. But I think like I did meet a lot of really, really hardcore fans, among them my friends as well. And it was a lot of good fun, a lot of good vibes, and we hung out with so many people that we met online through Twitter and all of that. So that's always fun. But the excitement was definitely there.
Ah, good. It was a good weekend. And you talking about the people that you met online. You met me. Terrible, right?
Yeah,
Terrible.
definitely.
I hope I didn't scare you.
Absolutely not terrible at all. And I'm not scared easily.
Yeah,
Don't
good.
worry.
Thank God. Thank God. Pika, anything that you want to add? Because I know I was asking questions away because I wanted to know what it was like for the fans and watching it. Anything that you want to ask?
Did you go with Jack to the Eurovision thing on Saturday night?
She did.
Yes, I
What was your
did.
favourite?
I was sitting next.
We had a
I
good,
was sitting
we had
next
some
to
we had
Jack.
some good chats.
It was very fun.
What was your favourite?
So the thing is, in the bar, it was very difficult to properly hear the music because it was
Yep.
so loud.
That's fair.
It was just fine.
But it was just pure vibes. But staging wise and like vibes wise, definitely Nemo because
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
rooting for Joost, but Joost got disqualified, of course.
Right. Yes. Well, yes.
I don't know if I'm
Joost
allowed to
was-
do justice for Joseph, but that's what we did a lot of
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
bar. There was a lot of
Joseph-
justice for
That's a lot.
Joseph. Mainly because we were there with
There was
some
a
Dutch
lot of
friends.
justice. There was a lot of justice for Joost here in Oxford as well. But yeah, no, actually, the Eurovision trophy that I do have is the Rotterdam one from 2020.
I love that.
So yeah,
I love that.
Me and my mate thought we get that because then we can say that we won the contest in 2020, the year that never happened. So
Yeah.
there is no winner. So
Yeah.
there's us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you, Danique, actually.
Yeah, that
just
was
to-
fun.
Just to move it back to Formula E very quickly, because I'm just conscious of time. Out of the people that stepped in, right, and we'll include Taylor Barnard in this. But so you've got Paul Aaron, you've got Joel Eriksson, you've got Kelvin van der Linde. Who impressed you the most? Tough question, I know.
I think that's a very tough one because I also saw Taylor drive in Monaco, of course.
Yep.
I think the one that impressed me most. Is Paul
Yeah.
because he had not driven an FE car.
Oh, we may have lost Danique there.
Probably him.
There we go. We've got you back. Sorry, we just lost you there for a second.
Oh, sorry.
So just repeat what you just said.
It's probably my Wi-Fi. I think it was so for me since I already saw like some of them in previous years that they drove in Formula E or Formula E like machinery. I think it's Paul that impressed me the most because he is the one that, besides the testing in Misano, had not stepped into an FE car before.
Yep.
So I would say him.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I was 100% impressed by Paul as well. I just felt like once he gets the racecraft a little bit, he could be an exceptionally quick driver in Formula E because the lap times were very good, especially in the practice. He mucked up qualifying a little bit, but practice he looked sharp. He looked like he was on the ball.
Yeah. And in the race, he kept having issues that knocked him out of the points.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I do think he would have gotten at least 1 point.
I
Yeah.
think he was running in the points.
He was running in the points,
for a
but then
couple of laps.
He was.
I know
fell
that.
down.
I know that Joel Eriksson got a couple points.
The Swedish in
end.
that, by the way.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. The Swedish in me. Sorry. Yes, I know that he got a couple points at the end of Sunday.
He did.
Which is really cool.
He did indeed. So yeah, it was good. Danique, we're gonna have to call it there, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
but
That's fine.
Thank you so much for coming on. And are you going to be in London?
Yes, I'm going to be in London.
Right.
It's
We'll
the next one.
Definitely see you in London then. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, see you in London.
Right, see you in
Enjoy.
London. Right, thank you. Right, I think what we're gonna do, we're coming up to. So Blake is also in chat. So if we can
As
get
is
Blake in, that would be amazing.
I'm surprised that you're giving this enough time, but sure.
Yep. Well, yep, I am. Blake, welcome to the FE bar. How are you?
I'm doing all right, actually.
Oh, excellent stuff. What did you make of Berlin?
I actually like Berlin. 2 chaotic races.
Yep.
Yeah, it was an absolute worldie of a weekend. But however, I'm going to say this.
Go on.
I'm praising Kelvin van der Linde
Yeah.
for a guy. Yeah, I mean, even though he raced last year in Diriyah, he had a really good weekend. Like almost scoring points in the first race, and just in general just being better than Degrassi. I mean, even though Degrassi's has been crashing a lot recently. I mean, no offense to him, but like Calvin van der Linde, I feel he's really good. Despite he's he's a GE free driver.
Yeah.
He is. I have never seen a GT free driver like convert to a different type of motorsport like that quickly before. I mean, Joel Eriksson is another one, but
yeah,
I'll get to him later.
Yeah, Pico, what did you make of Calvin van der Linde?
Yeah, honestly, I was sort of half expecting him to have a solid weekend, and then but I wasn't expecting him to be like as quick as where he is. I know that like Lucas, I don't know what it is, but Lucas, like the last couple of years, it's like he's jumped off a cliff in terms of performance. It's just not been great for him. He had that high in Mexico City of getting the pole and getting the podium in last season for Mahindra, and then it's just like, do you know what? That's my luck for the next 2 years. I'm just gonna cruise around in 16th place. And admittedly, he got taken out by Dan Ticktum. Sorry, Helen, if you're watching. In the Saturday race, I can't remember.
Correct.
Saturday.
Thank you. I've sort of merged the two in my head at this point. But yeah, with Degrassi, admittedly he got through to the.
He did. He got into the Jules on Saturday.
There we go.
That is the worst. That is the worst part, though. That Calvin van der Linde didn't get to the duels, and he still got 11th place ahead of Degrassi.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
He's solid, Kelvin.
Kelvin did a solid job when he stood in for Robin last year. So yeah, we sort of knew that he was going to be somewhat all right this year. But yeah, look, honestly, I think if teams aren't considering him for a drive next season, then
well, obviously with Lola, right? It'll be Lola. It will be powering the app team, and you don't know what their driver situation will be going into it. Maybe that's another reason why Nico Muller is looking for other avenues potentially, not because it's just partnership and who he's contracted to. So maybe that's, when you think about it now, when you feed the, you think actually that dot aligns with that dot and that dot there aligns with that dot. Oh, hang on a second, light bulb moment maybe. So maybe there could be a position for Calvin van der Linde Blake with the Lola team next season maybe.
Yeah, I could probably see that, but if it's like. If another clash happen again, I think Cooper got that man. I think if another clash happens, I think there is a chance that I would say van der Linde will be there to pick up the pieces. Yeah. It's my personal opinion. You can shut me down for that, but still,
no, I think it's
van der Linde.
I just wanted to bring up because we're on the whole point of replacement drivers.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point out that if Sam isn't ready for Shanghai, who's in the McLaren? Because surely Taylor's doing F2.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
He's doing F2 in Monaco, so
who are McLaren getting if Sam isn't all right?
I reckon. Well, the idea is that Sam will probably be all right, and the Taylor's got an interesting decision there because
can they call up Rene last minute if needs be?
I doubt it very highly. I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor, it'd be one of the rookies that they tested in today potentially that could get the call up. I don't know how many they're doing.
Just a counterpoint. I don't think Rene will be there for Shanghai because he has a DTM race at Lausitz Ring.
Right. Yes. Okay.
And as well as van der Linde. So those are out the window, unfortunately. But
yeah.
But going back on topic, I actually want to speak about Joel Eriksson.
Yep, go for it.
My God, I never expected him in the points because in the 2020 and 2021 season, he raced 8 races and only finished one and only got 1 point. But the way he adapted to the new cars pretty quickly was actually interesting because for the past 2 years been racing at the NLS or Nürburgring Langstrecke series. It's pretty interesting to see the GT3 drivers sort of starting to convert to Formula E pretty rapidly compared to the other drivers usually would. Nick de Vries have fallen off a cliff this year compared to season 8 and 7, I think, was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, to me, it's interesting how Calvin and Joe Eriksson managed to adapt that quickly to the Formula E cars. To me,
yeah. Well, Joel, you have to remember, has had something, but obviously not as much with the Gen 3. But he would have done a lot of simulation work. That's the thing that we don't see behind the scenes. That he has been involved, and like Taylor, would have done a lot of work behind the scenes. And again, it'd be interesting if Sam wasn't ready. I think Taylor Barnard would try to go to Shanghai, but I don't know even if that could happen with visas and so forth. I don't even know what could happen there. But but he may have had a visa ready anyway as a reserve driver to go potentially, just in case. Who knows? But I don't know.
Do you think that's why the likes of Tom Brooks, Nicky Shields, Jermaine Jean has got runouts in the Gen 3 this weekend, just in case?
Maybe.
Just just pick out one of them. Congrats, Tom. You're racing for McLaren.
Yeah. Yeah, well done. You've had some experience. But yeah, no, Blake. I tell you what. Amazing call. Love having you on. Anything that you want to add before we go?
No, not really. I'm just saying thank you for letting me on the show, and thank you to you guys.
No, it's the privilege is all ours. We love having fans on. Basically, it's the whole point of the show. So you are actually helping making the show. So thank you so much, Blake, and I look forward to hopefully talking to you after the Chinese E-Prix.
Okay, thank you so much.
No worries. Okay, right. So it's time for Nick at 9.
Are we going to have a break first? Or?
No, well, this is how it works, because I know we haven't had a break, but Nick at 9 is now. But you're thinking, where's Nick? Well, Nick's on an airplane. So, it was...
Actually, I can tell you where he is just crossing the border from Germany into the Netherlands.
That's where he is? Fair enough. So that's where
he's near, and I apologise for my Dutch here, Enschede.
That place. I'm sure Danique will be very happy. Probably won't
I'm
be able to work
really
out
sorry
what you've just said, to be honest with you. But it's time for Nick at 9, everybody.
Hello, and welcome to Berlin for Nick at 9, at 5:30.
Nick at 9 at 5:30. Am I going to get for this my name and my?
I'll pull it on.
Yeah, what's it called again? I forgot what it's
called.
It's
a lower third.
Lower third. Thank you. That's why you're an answer. Yes, but and I'm better as well. I've gone for an E-Prix and not been ill, so we're doing well. I'm making strides in life. And Eurovision last night.
Oh, what a night, eh?
Yeah, we're
here.
Night. Nick at 9, and we're talking about Eurovision.
Well, trust me, we would have talked about it at the beginning of the show because I'm sure Pico would have talked about it. So it'd be a good one to have. But anyway.
Oh, hold on. Can I ask Pico questions about Eurovision?
Go on then.
Because I'll be flying when the show is. So, Pico, what did you think of Switzerland winning? Yeah. Okay, more importantly, what did you make of Croatia coming second? They were robbed, in my opinion. You agree with me? Yeah, I know. Croatia should have won. They were the best song. Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah.
You know what the brilliant thing is? He won't be able to respond to that until after the video. That's the best thing. But let's, obviously, Berlin, yes. 2 races, crazy peloton-style races again. I don't know. I left Saturday thinking that, I don't know, was that one of the more enjoyable peloton-style races? I went to the track today and it was still, I didn't get that buzz of excitement watching it. So I'm still a bit stuck on the peloton, and the drivers seem very stuck on the peloton.
I enjoyed today, so Sunday more than Saturday. I thought Saturday was too much, and that's what a lot of the drivers thought, even in the press conference. Nick won the race and he was kind of unhappy because they've had enough of it. It's dangerous. It's going to get to a point where there's going to be a massive crash because of the peloton, and when that happens, crap is going to hit the fan.
Yeah, and that's what I said to Cassidy. When I interviewed Cassidy for our Jaguar magazine, I said, but it's like a safety car, like when for F1 in the rain and they wanted the safety car because they didn't. I said, you're just waiting for a crash to happen. And he said, but it hasn't happened. And I'm thinking to myself, is it because they're not going fast enough that technically a big crash won't happen?
It's a hard one. I think a lot of it is to do with the circuits as well. We saw here the Berlin track was actually really small compared to the old layout, and because of that, the walls as well. It just attracts side-by-side racing, the peloton style. And the thing that scares me, we've seen so many hand injuries, wrist injuries. All you had to see today was Norman Nato when he had his collision with Sasha Fenestraz, the onboard, it was completely Norman's fault, don't get me wrong. The way his steering wheel suddenly snapped on him and he quickly got his hands away from it. Had he been holding onto the steering wheel, his wrists would have been shattered like we've seen, with so many drivers. It's a hard one because I was speaking to Jev yesterday and he was saying that the problem is that with the Gen 3.5, it has the same aero package as the Gen 3. So we're going to get the Peloton-style races next season, no matter how fast the acceleration is. So it's going to come down to Gen 4, and the interesting thing that Jev said was that if this continues the Peloton style, in a couple of years, he's gone. He doesn't want to race in this, and that's the thing. A lot of the drivers are getting to a point where it's like, you know what? Yeah, I like Formula E, Peloton-style racing. It's not for me. Bye-bye. I'll race elsewhere, which would kill our sport, basically.
It would. And what was really interesting was I tried to interview Jev today, and he was like, if I speak to the media, I get told off. But that was mainly because time had run out, and I knew time had run out, but he was like...
Sorry. I cannot say anything in the media because then I got told off. So I don't want to lie.
I don't want to... I can't... No. You can tell that his emotions are kind of maybe starting to get the better of him, even though I think he's a top driver and he's doing a great job still. Yeah. But I think that frustration is starting to... He wears it on his shoulder, basically.
The thing with Jev as well, he is in this paddock one of the most experienced drivers, one of the most successful. Okay, yes, Lucas is more experienced than him in terms of races taken part in, but actually Vern's been towards the front significantly more than Lucas ever has. The last few years, where has Lucas been? Vern knows what he's talking about. He's driven all the eras of Formula E cars. He's already seen the Gen 3.5 Evo. He's seen all the data behind it as well. So it's like, he knows what he's talking about. And if he's getting worried, then to me, that's the sign of, okay, if he's worried and he's the veteran of the sport, then there is a serious problem here.
Yeah, 100%. But we've got to talk about, let's go back to yesterday's race, and obviously Cassidy won it. Right.
Before Eurovision.
Before Eurovision. Again, it's just another great drive. Like, he was 21st after the 21st lap, and he comes through to win it. Amazing.
It's a weird one because, he was 21st at one point, started the race in 9th, and did what we saw ERT do. I can't think what race it was now, but ERT a few races ago, they held themselves at the back, preserved the energy in the slipstream, and then in the closing laps just shot themselves into the points. Obviously the Jaguar being a much better powertrain than the ERT meant that Nick had a good few percent more than everyone else. So come the closing laps, he was just vroom. I don't know why I'm saying vroom when Formula E cars are silent. So
but yeah, he did. He literally went. He literally went through the field. But it was interesting. Yeah. But he plays his cards close to his chest, though, doesn't he? Because when I was talking, I was like, "Was that the strategy?" No, I'm just slow.
It's
and
because
I was like,
he knows he's in this title fight, and he now leads as well. So he came into Berlin in second. He's left it with a lead, a slim lead, but it's that momentum. And we now go into Shanghai, where who knows what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And then Portland, where actually, Nick's head of Berlin said, these Peloton style of races in, Berlin, Shanghai and Portland aren't good for Jaguar. Yet this weekend has been his best of the season points wise. We know he's won in Portland before, so it's like, okay, is the upcoming races as bad for Jaguar as they're making out, or are they, like you said, is he just playing his cards close to his chest?
Yeah, I think he is, to be honest with you, because I think he knows, right? You're right. He knows he's in this title fight. And I think you see it in the Sunday race, actually, when he was fighting Evans. He knew that if he finished above the Evans, is more and more in his favour for his championship fight, because at some point soon, if he does that in Shanghai, by Portland, they may already be favouring Cassidy for the title.
Yeah, I think we know there's now 3 drivers who've kind of broken away a little bit, but the thing is that with Shanghai being a double header, that could be flipped completely on its head. But I do think come the end of Shanghai, that's when we're going to see the real title picture of who's going to be in the fight in Portland, and most importantly come London as well.
Yeah, and obviously I want to talk about Andretti, because Saturday's race, obviously at the back of the grid pretty much, if it wasn't for the penalty for Deruvala, they would have been back row, both of them, and then 1 and 3 today, but obviously 1 and 2 in the group stages. What a turnaround!
They found something. It's really weird because if you look at last season, Andretti were the masters in qualifying, particularly Jake Dennis, and then Porsche were bad in qualifying, made up for it in the race. We've seen this season prior to Berlin, Andretti struggling in qualifying, make up for it in the race. Porsche and Pascal amazing in qualifying.
Yeah.
So then they've not got to then fight through the field in the races. And you mentioned there, yesterday they were 20th and 21st on the grid, Jake and Norman. today they were first and third, and the car looked so much better. They've obviously found something that they'll never say exactly what, obviously, but it's how much have they tried to find this sweet spot they've now found, because the difference is night and day. It's really, really weird, but it's going to be so important now.
Yeah.
Because we know pole's not going to be too important in the upcoming races. We know that, with the exception of London, of course.
Yeah.
But those 3 points for getting pole
could be crucial.
Could be crucial.
100%. And obviously we had a lot of rookies here this week.
A lot of rookies. And that's not including the rookie test.
Exactly. There's more rookies. We should have seen the media pen here. It was like, why is there like 100...
40 drivers.
I was like, why is there 100 million drivers that don't need to be here? Madness. But, you know, I suppose we can put Taylor into this conversation as well.
Yeah, too right.
Who impressed you the most this weekend? Because I was impressed by Taylor. I thought he did a brilliant job. I was really impressed by Paul as well.
Yeah.
And Joe obviously getting some points today as well. Like, there was some good performances.
Yeah, obviously, you know, Joel's been here before. Okay, not for a little while, but for me, Taylor was... Monaco, he was thrown into it. At least this weekend, he had a chance to really settle into the car, understand the circuit, have a proper preparation ahead of it as well. And then 10th on Saturday, 7th today.
Yep.
You know, he's already overtaken several drivers in the Drivers' Championship, and he's 19 years old.
Yeah.
It's interviewing him made me feel old, which is the worst feeling. I'm only 24, so I'm now going to go home thinking, I feel old now. But he was extraordinary, and he's proven that, you know, he's a very, very good racing driver. He's an F2, and he's come here and has shown that he can fight with the big drivers. Yeah, Paul Aaron was another one. Was a really unfortunate not to get points on Saturday. Today, a bit of a tougher race, but he's also been really, really impressive.
One lap pace is definitely there.
One lap pace was really good, and actually Taylor didn't quite have the one lap pace, but the race pace and the race management was really good. And the thing that was incredible was that he understood the strategy and how to preserve energy really, really well.
Yeah,
you know, he finished ahead of Jake.
Yeah,
it's for Taylor, he's done everything he can. It's almost a perfect job rehearsal if he were to get a seat in the future, and I think he will. He deserves it.
I 100% think he will. There'll be some waiting period now, because
Definitely.
obviously
he said that himself.
Sam and Jake aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
And
plus,
should be back for China.
Yeah,
you would imagine.
And plus he's got his F3 career to look after, and you never know, he still has aspirations for F1 probably.
Well,
and if he keeps performing like this and showing up, then for him, who knows, the sky's the limit. But yeah, really impressive. I suppose we should end with Antonio Felix da Costa, because let's hope by the time he's still got the win. For now.
By the time, this is finished recording, who knows? By the time the F1 bar actually airs,
exactly.
Who knows?
Fingers crossed he has done it, because the mentality for him,
it's
right?
Massive. Absolutely massive.
In terms of, obviously, he lost it in Misano, and then he comes to Berlin, and it's just the way he handles himself, the way he's like...
It was a veteran's drive.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
You know, he drives for Porsche, and he's just won at Porsche's home race. Pascal's never won here before either, and it's to do that as well, given all the rumours about his future with the team, to then go and win their home race. It's like, you know what, I'm still here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm Antonio Felix da Costa. I'm a season 6 champion. You know, what do you think you're doing? And he's got that swagger about him when he wins, and every time he does win, you get more emotion from him than probably any other driver. He's always draping himself in the Portuguese flag, and he's not jumped in a pool yet. There is no pool. There's a river.
Well, it's a bit far away.
Yeah, but I do think he's probably going to wait until the FIA release the official order, and then he'll go jump in the river. I wouldn't recommend jumping in a river though, to be honest.
Might be pitch black though, so
he also might then get ill. But at least they're not me being ill for a change.
Never mind. But yeah, I think for Dak, I suppose for me, and I suppose for everyone else, in terms of he just does what he does, and he's been unlucky, right? And I think people forget that he's been unlucky. Like, even if you look back at Monaco when he got caught up with the ball, there's nothing he can do. So sometimes the results that he gets are you know, it's not of his own making. If that makes sense.
He's had an unlucky season, and actually the pace has been there. Not necessarily in qualifying, that's still been a bit of an issue for him. But to be honest, in qualifying, the only one who's done well prior to today's race is Pascal.
Yeah.
Pascal has been probably the most consistent qualifier, which is nuts when it was the complete opposite last season. But Antonio has amazing racecraft. We've seen it. You know, he knows how to fight through the field, even though this season it's harder to do that.
Yeah.
Because everyone understands the peloton more, and if he just gets that one lap pace sorted, you know, and can qualify, even just make the duels, even if he gets knocked out in the quarterfinals, it's just that much closer. It takes away that element of risk as well, being in the midfield.
Especially when the peloton's coming up, because if
4 more.
Exactly, 4 more pelotons to come. But I suppose to end on Verline, I still think you're right. He needs to be consistent. But
Yeah.
with Cassidy's aggressive, right? And
Cassidy is
I know,
aggressive, but I
and
like it.
I like it too. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with it. But I feel like Verline is needs to match that aggression. But I saw today, like, he got done at the exit of the final corner
Yeah, he fought.
because he was fighting. But then when he fights, sometimes it doesn't go his way, and he ends up losing positions. And we've seen that with Verline, and he can't do that with Cassidy at the
I
moment.
don't know why, but every time Pascal's aggressive, it's always with Jake.
Yes.
Which, make of that what you will. They both said it was just hard racing, and when they jumped out of the car, absolutely fine. Obviously, they say some things during the race because they just heat the moment. But yeah, no, it was good racing. It's hard because Nick, in his current form, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the problem is he has that aggression to make, we saw, towards the end, I think it was the penultimate lap of this race, that massive lunge at turn 6 on Roland for P2. That could be massive in the championship. Who knows?
Exactly.
Whereas obviously Pascal had to look after P4 in the end. So it's how much is Pascal prepared to really go for it. It is a hard one because Nick has, Nick knows what to do now from last season.
Exactly.
Whereas Pascal fell away because he wasn't consistent. So it's...
He's got the
my
consistency
favourite's
now.
Nick. I'll be honest. I
think so too. But
we've got 6 races to go. But I think whilst Porsche should be really, really good, I think in Shanghai and Portland, there's something about Nick this season. That's
I mean, you knew when he sort of came to Jaguar that it was going to be the match made in heaven.
Yeah.
He had the Jaguar powertrain, just missed out on it. It felt like this was the next step.
And Mitch will be there to support him as well.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
100%.
Because even if whilst Mitch is still in the title fight, don't get me wrong, they're close enough, and things that Mitch is fast enough to be able to support Nick.
Yeah.
Can Antonio consistently be towards the front and support Pascal? I'd like to say yes. At the moment, I don't think so.
Yeah. Right. I suppose we should wrap it up here for Nick
Yes,
at 9.
Nick at 9 at 5:45 now.
At 5:45. Thank you very much.
You're
Get
welcome.
home safe. Enjoy the rookie test.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Well, I will be landing and then tuning in. So
hopefully
who knows? Maybe if I'm landing and the show's still on, I'll jump on in the car.
That'll be hilarious.
I can listen to myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's
exactly.
do that. And then we can talk about Eurovision.
And then we'll talk about Eurovision
and how
properly.
Croatia should have won. Honestly.
And on that, let's go. And we are back. So, he asked you some questions there, did old Nick Golding. Before we get a couple more fans in. What's your response? You wanted Croatia to win? He was gutted?
I mean, like, for me personally, Switzerland was my favourite, and so I'm delighted that they won. It's the first ever non-binary winner as well of the Eurovision Song Contest. I will say though, Croatia felt like more of a winner on the night. It felt like that performance felt more like a winner, whereas like last year, Lorene's felt like more of a winner, and that's why she won. And so anyone who says as much as Cha 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 is amazing, Lorene deserved to win.
Yeah, 100%. The song was good.
Yeah.
But I've got a little surprise for you though.
Croatia, it's more of a winner, and I will say Nick has now left.
His flight must have been late.
Dutch airspace. He is estimated to land at 12 minutes to 10, so let's try and get off air before him.
Yeah, 100%. But I've got a little bit of a surprise for you. And that's same for everyone in chat, actually. Right? So, Nick was supporting Croatia, and we filmed the moment when the winner was about to be announced.
God! Oh my god!
I'm going to play it now. Now, for you, there is a tiny bit of a delay. So
I'm going to be watching it.
We'll get to try and see if we can watch your reaction when we come back. So here's Nick's reaction to the Eurovision.
I can't wait for this.
He's watching it now. It was cool. It was cool. He was good. I couldn't believe how good he was. He was like Croatia, and he was like, it was a great night. I must admit, it was an absolutely
great night. So we should have actually. We do have another special guest coming on to the show, hopefully in about 10 minutes' time. We've got Jack Smith from Motorsport Week, who was at the race with us as well, who's happily was going to step in for Nick at 9, but then I was like, mate, Nick at 9, we've done Nick at 9. He's like, perfect, because he was flying home today after the rookie test, and he's not long been home, so he should be popping in hopefully. And Nick Golding struggled captured live on video. I know indeed. So we'll try and get. I want to try and get. I don't know what the order is at the moment, if there is an order. But Ryan has been in the chat for a while, and I know he had a big struggle because he was also at the race. So that we might as well get Ryan in because he was in the race too. Ryan, hello. You're on the FE bar. Firstly, you were in Berlin. How was Berlin for you? Yep. Yep. Yeah. No, indeed. Whereabouts were you sitting? So, in terms of you were on the start-finish straight? You're on the start-finish straight. Now, from the start-finish straight, were you able to see turns like 6 and 7? How high were you? Were you able to see over and see into that section? What could you see?
The corners, because they were obstructed a bit.
My fault. Apologies, Ryan. You were muted, and that was on me. So we'll do that again.
I heard him.
You can hear him because you're in the call.
Oh, okay.
The people couldn't hear him.
Oh, is this how this works?
That was my fault.
Let me get my glasses.
The quick turnaround from the Eurovision. Sorry about that, Ryan. So Ryan, just to catch you up, Ryan was sitting. So he was sitting by the start, finish straight, and he's now going to tell you, Ryan, what did you make of the two races?
Chaotic and exciting.
Yeah. In terms of the peloton style, now that you've seen it in the flesh, what do you think? Is it something that you enjoyed? Did you enjoy watching that style of racing?
I'm kind of 50-50 with it, to be honest, because I enjoyed it, like seeing how competitive it was, but also I didn't like the amount of crashes and just people running over debris on the straight as well, which was quite common. Like, I know at one point there was a wing going in the ad, and a few laps later, somebody, I think it was Jake Hughes, hit a piece of debris, and it just went all over the place.
That sounds like Saturday's race. I don't know if that was Saturday's.
Yeah, I think it was Saturday's.
He had to pit. Obviously, Taylor pitted. Well, there was quite a few people that pitted for punctures on Saturday's race. So obviously, there was a lot of debris on track, and that was a lot of things. What the drivers were saying is that, you know, we're not bad drivers, but we're breaking over our front wings every 5 seconds, and it's just not a good look on us, they say.
Yeah, I agree with that. It does. Like, to fans from outside of Formula E, it can look quite amateur at times, I will admit.
But we've got to talk about the man that's in your picture. Obviously, people can't see this, but
Roland.
We've got to talk about Roland, right? Because 15th to 3rd, 16th to 3rd, like, what a race Oliver Roland had.
He's the king of the peloton, really.
King of the peloton.
Finished 3rd in both races.
I know, tell me about it. Just how impressed have you been with Oliver Roland this season?
I wasn't expecting much from him this season, but then around, I would say, Tokyo, I think he got motivated by, you know, being a driver for his team at their home race, and it's almost like that motivation has just continued throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think he's at that age now where he's at his peak, I would say, and he's, you know, he understands Formula E really well. He's got that experience, and he's at a good age where he's not old, but he's not young anymore. He's in that window between, I think he's 29, 30-ish now. So I would say in his peak where he's got his experience as Oliver Roland. So I think for him, this is not his chance to win the championship, because I think it's a long shot, but he's in this window where I reckon he's got his best chance in the next couple of years to maybe pick up a championship in the future.
Yeah, I think so. If he improves a bit more next year, he could be in championship contention, in my opinion.
Indeed, Pico. Anything to add?
I mean, I don't think we can rule him out of championship contention this season.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think it'll be tough. I think Cassidy's just strong.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's completely fair. I just feel that there's just something about that. Because the thing is, if you think about it, where's I haven't got the championship.
I'll do it.
I had it up a minute ago. Do you want me to get up my amazing graphic again that you said was in 240 frames per second? Cassie's on 142, Verline 124, Roland's on 118 with Jake Dennis in the top 4.
Add another 25 to that and take 3 off Cassidy and 7 off Verline. And that, I believe, puts Roland in the lead of the championship. Yeah. Had that Misano cock-up not happened, Roland would have been
in a really strong position.
He would be leading the championship.
Yeah. And be in a very strong position to fight for it, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
So fingers crossed for Ollie then, see if he can continue his strong. And I suppose anything can happen if he can stay consistent in China and in Portland. Then anything can happen. But Ryan, you had a terrible journey getting home.
I know.
Tell the world what happened.
So my flight landed and hang on
the Sunday. On the Sunday.
Yeah. I'm just getting a. Sorry, I'm just being very unorganized. I'm just getting an airport chart up so I can explain it.
Yeah.
So there's this curfew at Berlin-Brandenburg where between 11:30 and 5:30 local time, no aircraft can take off. My aircraft had been previously delayed because of weather in Paris. They took off from Luton, landed, and then told us that they wouldn't be able to do it. And they knew for 4 hours that we wouldn't be able to go back. So, yeah, I was at the airport for around, I think, 2 hours while they sorted out a hotel, and then.
So you ended up in a hotel because I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. You were still at the hotel. So
let me see when I sent that image. Actually,
it was quite late. I remember seeing it. So then you ended up flying. What was it, about 2 o'clock this afternoon?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. So your flight. Yeah. What time was your original flight time?
It was. I'll check Flight Radar 24.
Good old flight.
It was.
I've got that up. A little flight update. Nick is halfway. Well, about 3/4 of the way over the sea from the Netherlands to the United Kingdom.
Right. So. On mine, right, I've got it. It was supposed to take off at 11 p.m. on Sunday. It departed at 4 p.m. today.
Wow, 11 p.m. last night, which was going. You go at 4 p.m. today. That is mad. That's mad.
I literally, you were starting the Yaffe bar as soon as I got home.
Wow. Well, fair play for coming on.
Yeah.
Fair play. We really massively appreciate that. Ryan, we've got to let you go because we've got Jack Smith coming on from Motorsport Week in a moment. So we're going to take a small break and we'll be back on the other side with Jack Smith from Motorsport Week.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we are joined by Jack Smith from Motorsport Week. How are you, Jack?
I'm tired, Jack, but
Yes.
I'm all right. But I am
Aren't we
okay.
all?
I landed about like 4 hours ago, and I've long been back home. So yeah, I'm a bit tired, but I'm okay though. I am
No,
okay.
I appreciate you coming on the show.
No, it's nice to be on.
Talk us all about Berlin. We got Triple Jack. I think that's what we're calling this segment. I don't know if Mr. Pico's happy with Triple Jack.
Yeah, no, well, we can't call it Triple J because that's a radio station in Australia. So
good
we
knowledge.
can't. Yeah. No, I just watch too much Aussie TV.
Yeah, so Triple Jack, we're going with that. So we've got Jack. The name Jack is everywhere on the screen right now. So I suppose, Jack, we'll have to start with just Berlin in general. What did you make of the whole weekend, the two races? Like, just talk us through what was your insights.
Well, obviously, like race one, we kind of knew that it was going to be a bit manic, just because these sort of races always are. But it was a really interesting one. I mean, obviously, it was my first visit to Berlin, so it was an eye opener for me. But obviously, the races was pretty crazy. But I'm always astounded by some of the drives that some people put up. I mean, like Ollie Rowland was, I thought, the sort of unspoken star of the weekend. The drives that he puts up, I think, are just incredible. And he's very modest about it. You know, when I spoke to him, he said, "I need to work on my qualifying a little bit." I was like, "Yeah, but you're in probably the richest vein of form you've ever been in your life." And he said, "Well, I'm doing quite well, I suppose." But it was nice to see Da Costa win and actually be able to keep it this time. I mean, I think that he's just one of those people you can't ever begrudge or feel anything negative about him if you're a fan. If he wins, then everyone's going to be happy. Because he's so philosophical about everything, and he's just, his outlook on everything is so good. And obviously Cassidy, I thought, was again another absolute star of the weekend. He was obviously superb in race one, and I thought his willingness to help Mitch Evans out in race two was actually very, very good. But it was one of the best weekends that he's ever had, and he said to me he will be savouring it before he resets and goes again for China. So overall, I thought it was a very fascinating weekend, and it just is another example of how you can't predict Formula E and how this title is still so wide open.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to talk to you about, the title, because we were talking earlier about, is it Cassidy? Well, Cassidy and Verline, and I know others are there, but we talked at the beginning of the show that Cassidy's in such a rich vein of form and just seems unstoppable. And I was watching Verline over the weekend. I just don't think he's aggressive enough in these types of races, and I just think Cassidy is, and I know he's had his problems a little bit early in the season where he lost his front wing, but I just think Cassidy's in that momentum at this precise moment where everything he touches is turning to gold effectively, and for me, I think he's in the box seat for this championship. I don't know about you.
I think so. I mean, obviously he looked great in the start of the season, and Jaguar were very early on being talked up as the favourites, and then, like all Formula E teams, they play themselves down, play their chances down when things look good for them. Because I said to him about how luck was kind of on his side, because he said it about the race. I said, well, you could say that about a lot of the season in at some points. He said, yeah, but think about races where I've been really unlucky. So he knows there's good days and bad days. But yeah, I think the title, as long as Jaguar keep producing a car that's at the very least decent in the tracks where they don't expect to be good, I think the title will be his. Berline, as you say, maybe didn't look quite aggressive enough in these style of races. And Da Costa, said that Peloton races, whatever you think of them, they're for real racing drivers, because they're always getting their elbows out. You've got to always be looking, left and right and managing your race very well, whilst having to make sure that no driver is picking you off. So yeah, I think Cassidy probably on form is certainly the title favourite. I mean, it's incredible that Roland and Jake Dennis are kind of still in the mix, albeit a little bit behind. given that they both haven't been able to qualify very well. But don't discount them either, because they've both got the experience to find a result when the chips are down.
Yeah, Pika, any questions?
No.
Okay, I'll carry on. I was just you tried to. I want to talk about Andretti, obviously, because you mentioned it there with Jake Dennis, like being in the obviously still in the title fight, but the day that they had on Saturday was terrible, and the fact how hard that they celebrated just being 1 and 2 in the groups, let alone getting pole position with Jake Dennis, like that has to be one of the best turnarounds I think I've ever seen in Formula E history.
Yeah, I certainly couldn't believe it, because I don't know about you two, but I've got used to this season. I've got used to the fact that Andretti are going to qualify badly,
Yeah.
but then Jake is going to have a race where he just storms his way through, because that's what he's been doing for most of the season. I can't think of really many races where he's had a good qualifying other than Diriyah when he ended up winning. So yeah, I could see why they were celebrating it, and obviously it was great that even Nato got up to, they were 1 and 2, and then he was P3. I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone in the press centre could believe that.
Yeah.
I certainly couldn't, but obviously there's that sort of, there's that issue where a lot of people who qualify on the front row don't ever win the race. So obviously, great that he got points for pole, so it was something to celebrate. But you kind of felt that if he maybe was in 5th or 6th, he may have been in a better chance of winning, because these style of races, qualifying is not really that important. But from the point of view of how much they turned it around, I could totally see why they were celebrating that hard.
Do you think what was it, Jake Dennis? I think I overheard him in the media pen. Like, Berlin's a bit of a one-off track. Yes, they managed to get it right second day, but then he was like, I think we've solved our issue, right? So if Andretti can perform well in Shanghai, surely that puts Jake Dennis, even though he's had a couple of bad races, that puts him right back in the title fight, surely.
I would have thought so. I remember speaking to him in, I think it was Monaco. Was it Monaco? But no, it was Bazzano.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you're very close to the top of the championship. So is this sort of season? Is it a case of it all going to plan? He said, no, it's not going to plan at all. And I guess that's just because of the bad qualifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he's confident they've turned it around, and they have done, then there's no way you should discount them, because whilst the work Porsche has been far better this year in their qualifying, because that was what cost Pascal the championship last year, was the fact that they just couldn't qualify the car very well. So yeah, if Andretti have solved this problem, then Jake Dennis should never be discounted out of this title fight whatsoever.
100%. And I talked Maximilian Gunther actually, because it was a pretty poor weekend for him in his home race, and ended up actually being a little bit injured when he was talking to you at the end on Sunday with his arm from the crash that he had that ended his race.
Yeah, he really didn't say too much about it, so I don't know if there's been any details released since then as to the nature of what happened. But yeah, he said that he couldn't move his arm at one point when he actually crashed and hit the wall. So he was obviously in some pain with it, but I'm assuming and hoping maybe it was just sort of jarred and nothing is too serious. I mean, if it was, I think they'd have told us by now. So
yeah, 100%.
I think he's okay, but it was a shame for him, because he wasn't running too badly actually in both of the races. He was looking good for points, but again, he was very philosophical about it, and it wasn't a completely disastrous weekend for Maserati. Deruvala finally got some points on the board, and I thought actually he was a very unsung hero of the weekend, because before the crash in race 1, he was actually running in the points. And he said to me that it's, this style of racing is something that he's never been used to before, so he's had to learn how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, he came a bit of a cropper in race 1, but race 2, he stayed out of the trouble pretty well, and I thought it was a thoroughly deserved set of points for him. And I think I think everyone should be Maserati should be very pleased with themselves because they have shown far more consistency this season than they did compared to last year.
Indeed, indeed. And then I want to ask of the newcomers. I say the newcomers because not all of them are newcomers, like Kelvin van der Linde and Joel Eriksson. But obviously we had Paul Aaron and obviously Taylor Barnard taking part in his first full weekend. Out of those drivers, who impressed you the most?
Barnard was exceptional. He said he was keen to get points this weekend in at least one of the races, and you couldn't say that was overran. Yeah, he said to me he was hoping to get points in at least one, but hopefully both. And I didn't doubt him. I thought it was going to be a tall order just because of, this was again a style of racing he won't know anything about. But and as he said, you go to the drivers' briefings as a reserve driver, and you think you've taken it all in, and then you actually get to do the race, and you realise you haven't taken any of it in at all because you can't learn these things until you actually start racing. But he's taken to it like a duck to water. I thought he was exceptional all weekend, and I think that if he, let's assume that Sam is back for China, but the fact is that he's driven 3 races. He's proven himself very well in all of them. He's finished every single one, and he's got points in 2. If a Formula E team come in for him next season, I think he's going to have to seriously consider taking them up on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously me and Nick were talking about it in the Nick at 9 when we were like, there's no seat for him at like a McLaren so far to jump into. Sam and Jake are there, so, and obviously he's still fighting his way in the junior formulas, so it'd be interesting to see what Taylor Barnard does, because I knew when I first saw him in Valencia in pre-season testing, when I was like, this boy's quick. When he was 7th out of all of the 300 kilowatt, I was like, this boy is quick, right? And he's got a future, but he could still make that future in Formula 1. Who knows? He's only 19 years of age. But before we let you go and get some well-deserved rest from what has been a hectic day, you were in Berlin for a tiny little bit this morning for the rookie test. Can you let us know what sort of happened there and what you saw and what was happening today?
So sessions 1 and 2, Robert Schwartzman was quickest in the DS Penske, and I don't think you can really be surprised about that because we all know that Schwartzman's an incredibly talented driver. And obviously, I was fairly impressed by a lot of the lineups in this test. Obviously, we had Frederick Vesti, and we had Drugovic. Obviously, Enzo Fittipaldi was there, and I thought that a lot. Well, I mean, a lot of these guys have never driven a Formula E car before. They've mostly done the sim, and you can never quite replicate that in a sim. So. Yeah. It was very interesting to see, how well they were going to do. I thought Alice Powell did exceptionally well. I know that she was a little bit off the pace compared to the rest of them, but
they weren't running at full power in the morning, so that was also part of it.
Of course, and the fact that she's not driven a racing car for 2 years nearly.
Yeah.
So I think she gave a very good account of herself. But in terms of the people like Vesti and Schwartzman, I think. Again, there's always a possibility that they will be looked at by teams that may think about their driver lineups for next season. But again, Vesti and Schwartzman, probably like Taylor Barnard, are 2 drivers that Schwartzman I think is certainly banging on the door of F1 for a while, and Vesti with those links to Mercedes, is another known name that could be is kind of probably going to be in that quandary where. What does he do? Does he think about taking a drive in Formula 1 if it's offered, or does he carry on in the juniors, or does he think about a Formula E switch? It's a very, very interesting dilemma for them because some of these drivers, probably going to have to weigh up whether do they risk not being in Formula 1 and having to pay their way through the juniors, or do they go to Formula E where they're probably going to get paid to race? And Formula E is becoming more of a, I wouldn't say mainstream because it's still, I think certainly in our country it's still quite niche in a lot of ways. But do you take a paid drive in a series that is way more legitimate than it's ever been in its history and its existence? It's a big quandary for them. But I'd like to see drivers like this get a chance in Formula E if possible, and I'd like to see them take it because it kind of emphasises that Formula E is getting bigger and better all the time.
Yeah, indeed. Jack, it's been an absolute privilege coming on. We'll definitely get you on again in another show.
I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. Have a deserved rest as well, because I know you need it, man. Flying back and then doing this, mate, it was tough enough going back to work today. But right, have a good one, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, take care, guys. See you soon.
Right, see you soon.
Cheers, Jack.
Bye.
Okay, so
Right.
what we'll do now is...
Before you say anything, I have some news.
Oh, some
And
news.
that is Nick Golding has landed.
Oh, Nick has landed. Fair play. Right.
He's landed in Stansted. He's safe and sound.
Happy
And
days.
just like everyone hopefully would have done on that flight, we have just applauded him landing.
Yeah.
So yeah, big news from that. Should we get some more people on?
Right, we've got some more people. We've got about 12-ish, 15 minutes to go. So let's fire through some people. I don't know what the order is. Let's get Chris on. I'm doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Chris, welcome to the FE Bar.
Oh, hi, how are we doing?
I'm not too bad. How was you? You were also in Berlin. How
Oh,
did you find it?
Well, obviously, experience-wise, it
Still
was
there.
amazing.
You're still there, aren't you?
You still there?
Oh, yeah.
You're still in
I'm-
Berlin?
I'm having to keep the noise down because I am currently in the restaurant at the moment, just obviously the empty restaurant in the hotel.
Nice. So phoning from Berlin. I like this. When do you fly back?
Absolutely. Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Nice. Did you get in today for the rookie tests? I know people were trying to get people in.
I tried, but we had a little look from the outside, but you really couldn't see anything apart from like the little. But where I always say where they used to put like the shorthand names, you could literally only see the tiny tops from outside the perimeter fence, and they were taking everything down. So
yeah,
all we could see was them taking everything down. So we did pop out there for about half an hour, but really couldn't see anything.
Oh, shame, because I know Andretti were trying to get people in, and they put a message out on Twitter. So it's a shame that you can get in. But hilariously, you spotted me on the grid, which I thought was hilarious.
Absolutely.
I thought that was hilarious. And but it's just, I want to know from the grandstand, what did you make of the race? And because it's easy probably following a Peloton style race on TV. I know you got the big screens there to help, but what was it like in the grandstands following that race?
Yeah, big screens to help. We couldn't actually see a big screen either
you couldn't
day.
See a big screen. Whereabouts were you sat?
Like you could.
You on the grid, the main grid straight.
Yeah, did you not see where the screens were? The screens were either end of the pit lane.
Yeah, there was one on the left. That did help me when I was watching the race outside on the Sunday. So that did help me massively. But yeah, I suppose not in good eye line for you, so a bit annoying. Okay.
Yeah, it was slightly annoying. So again, race-wise, obviously I could barely see what's going on like the far screen right at the end of. There's one like right at the end of the pit lane that you could just about see. So, but yeah, race-wise, I thought the Saturday race was really good.
Yep.
Sunday race wasn't as good, but
okay. Why? Is it because it was less Peloton style because they had 2 less laps?
Oh no, the Saturday race I thought was better, which was obviously more Peloton style.
Yeah. Okay, but obviously. Okay, go on. Carry on.
I think it was just a bit more chaotic, really. See, you had a lot more safety cars. See, 6 added laps, and yeah, maybe it was just the buzz being their first day, really. But
yeah, it was a crazy race. Like Saturday, I remember writing my race report on Saturday, and I was like, "Where do I start?" but yeah, it was one of those, and I suppose the safety car sort of helped calm it down a little bit. And I thought the safety car, I said to Dan, I was like, I thought the safety car window would mean you'd have a bit more flat out towards the end, but it didn't happen that way. And he was like, look, if it lasted 2 more laps, it would have been pretty much flat out. But because it was in the window where they could still add laps, basically that meant they couldn't push until they knew how many added laps for certain was going to be. So that's why the Peloton style still carried on.
Yeah, so we were actually saying that in the grandstand. It's like how we couldn't remember whether it was 80% or 90%, so we couldn't remember whether they were actually going to have laps or not.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they did, obviously, for the fan experience, because that Sunday race, obviously, being there went a lot quicker than the Saturday race, because I think the Saturday race was over an hour.
Yeah, it would have been, or close to an hour, especially with the 2 long safety cars.
Yeah, whereas obviously the Sunday race was probably 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And obviously with that, you do feel like getting your money's worth.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, because as I said in Misano, when you got a 36 and 37 lap race, you don't feel like sometimes you get your money's worth, and I suppose that's the danger that Formula E could fall into if their races are a bit too short with a peloton style, especially at circuits like Misano, for example. But I've got to have to stop it there, Chris, because we've got one or two more to try and squeeze in before 10 o'clock. But I'm really glad and really glad you enjoyed your time in Berlin, and thank you for taking a picture of me on the grid as well. That was quite funny.
That's all right, no worries. We were in the right spot, and we literally just saw you and thought, oh, it's Jack.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Right, thank you very much, Chris. I know.
Yeah.
It's got to my head. Right, perfect. Hopefully see you in London if you are in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll pop into you in London.
Perfect. Thank you. We had a special guest. Tom Brooks was in chat. Yes, it was amazing. I saw your messages. It was amazing, obviously, Tom, to chat to you, and you got to chance to drive the car. Hopefully, we'll get you back on the show at some point to discuss that. But yeah, it was a mega race, and we were on the same flight. You may have not seen me. I didn't want to disturb you because you had your headphones in, and everyone had their headphones in. It was mad how many people from the Formula E world were on our flight last night at 9 o'clock. But yeah, madness.
Not as mad as my flight back from Valencia a couple of seasons ago.
Can imagine. Right, who should we squeeze on? I think we'll go to Saz last. I think Saz will be amazing to end the show. We love Super Saz. So we got Chester, I think, and Natalie. So if we do Chester first and then do Natalie and Saz, and we'll try and squeeze them all in the next
Chester
couple.
on then.
Hello, Chester.
Hello.
How are you? How was the Berlin E-Prix for you?
Good. I had to wake up early since I'm in the east coast of the U.S., but it was good. Very hard racing.
Yeah,
a lot of crashes, a lot of wings being broken.
What did you make of the peloton style?
It was fun. It's fun to watch. It's definitely not boring or whatever, but I don't know. It's just a lot of crashing and such. It just kind of makes, I think what everyone's been saying, it just makes the grid look bad. Just seeing wings and safety cars being called almost every race when a big accident happens.
Yeah, that's what the drivers... I think the drivers don't mind it. I think they don't like the look that they're these like, oh, we're losing our front wing, and I don't think they like this kind of idea that we don't know how to drive and we just crash into one another. Like Dan Tickton said, like, it was fine. He said the Gen 2 car, he said, was perfect
the Gen 2
for this type of racing. Go on.
Yeah, no, because I was gonna say, yeah, the Gen 2 car, it was an open wheel car, yeah, but it had like the arches over the wheels, so you could actually go like hit each other in the side, and you wouldn't really, I guess, take much damage or whatever.
Yeah.
Like your wheels wouldn't get bent as easy, or whatever. So you could like definitely pull those moves off in Gen 2, but Gen 3, yeah, that's open wheel, so they just keep kind of crashing and not finishing the races now. They go for moves like that.
Yeah, so I take it you're a fan of the peloton style. So is it just the craziness for you that you love so much?
I guess, yeah. I guess it's also with F1 kind of being boring this season. It probably is going to be boring. We don't know how it's going to play out, but it's crazy. But I do understand people who kind of don't like just wings flying off every other lap and such. I do understand that, but I think it's a fun watch. Whatever.
It's good. Are you any chance of you getting to Portland, or is that a bit too far? Because I know East Coast.
That's a bit too far. That is on the entire other. That is the
the other side of the country. I know.
Across the country. I'm the farthest possible point you could be from Oregon.
What was it? There was news of F1 going to Chicago, and it's amazing that how much I suppose in America at the moment motorsport is growing, and Chicago obviously. Because I saw the news today, I don't know how true it is, but there's been a lot of reports around it. A bit more central, still a bit far from the East Coast, but a bit closer.
Yeah.
But did you ever go to a Formula E race when it was in New York?
Yes, I went to the last one back in 22.
What was that like?
And
what was it like in New York? 'Cause I'm really sad that we're not in New York. And do you think there could be any chance of? I'm not saying any chance, but like. Do you think there's any other places or alternatives where you maybe suggest that maybe like if you went to there in New York that maybe Formula E could come back?
I'll talk about my experience in New York. The New York track was very fun to be at. There was basically a big open space, and like the track. There's a lot of places you could see it from. And it was very cool since when we're walking towards it, it's basically like you can walk right next to the track. Like there's the sidewalk, the wall, and then the actual track. But with some barriers in between. But you could get like very close to it. They had like barriers and stuff so people could peek, but it was very cool how like close you could get to it and such.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was just a shame because I got the Saturday tickets, I remember, and it was completely dry. And I originally planned to get the Sunday tickets, but I had to reschedule whatever because I couldn't get a hotel. So we only went to the Sunday one, which was completely dry. So I missed the whole like chaos of like, I think it was like the wet race where everyone crashed into, I think it was like turn 4, like the chicane.
Oh, amazing, Chester. Do call back again. It was a pleasure talking to you. And thank you also for watching from America as well. It means the absolute world. Have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we'll speak to you after in China or especially Portland. Maybe I know you won't be there, but you know it'll be good to have your say on it.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Chester. Right, let's squeeze Natalie in, and then we'll end on Saz. Natalie, welcome to the FE bar. Is Natalie there? Pulling them in all this last minutes.
We know that there was some issues half an hour ago, but
I know, but if I was hoping maybe by then that she may have made it home. But if not, then not to worry. We will pull Saz in.
Right, we will. Yeah, we'll try Saz.
We'll try Saz. Super Saz, welcome back to the FE bar. Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm glad you're good. What did you make of the Berlin E-Prix?
I mean, as a Max fan, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I actually enjoyed it.
Okay, that's what I mean. I said at the beginning of the show that I thought potentially it was a very good peloton style race. It was. I don't know why, but maybe there was more corners or something like that compared to Misano, and they weren't like sweeping corners, and they were like, 90 degree, bit more Formula E style. So I don't know if that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I definitely preferred Sunday's race to Saturday's race, but I think, there was less problem with, because as you say, it's a smaller track, because in Misano, everyone was just running wide and the pack was all bunched up, whereas here it was like, okay, you can only mainly stay like two wide and 3 wide. Something's gonna happen that's not gonna go.
Yeah, for Gunther, he actually hurt his hand. So in the interview that we did, and Jack Smith was the one who conducted that interview, which I sort of just put my microphone in. But he said like he hurt his hand with that crash, which is which goes back to Nikki's kind of point at the start of the show where she said like it can be dangerous and drivers are getting hurt because of how bunched up and the crashes that are being caused, which is a bit of a small concern, I would say, at this precise moment.
Yeah, I think it's a big concern. And I don't know if it's Nikki, but somebody else said, it seems like there's an accident waiting to happen. And the stewarding seems to be done more on consequences of the crashes or collisions rather than what actually happened. So it seems like the FIA haven't got a handle on it, on making it clear on like, okay, what is track limit, what is a racing incident, this is a collision but that took him out, so we give a penalty, but this collision just got front wing damage.
It's interesting, isn't it? The stewarding and the drivers are still not 100% sure on what is what, and some people like Lucas Di Grassi was like, Dan Ticktum's going to get. I don't think Dan Ticktum did get a penalty for the incident with Lucas Di Grassi, but then decided to take the 40 place grid penalty anyway for Sunday, but for changing his gearbox and so forth. But he was adamant that he was going to get this penalty, and I don't think Dan actually got a penalty for that collision, which is interesting. So the inconsistencies there are massive. Who impressed you? Bob, obviously Gunther was out, not a great day. So who impressed you? Any of the newcomers? Was there anyone else on the grid that you thought actually had a really strong day?
Yeah, I think of 2 who were already there, like De Ruvler and Fenestras were both doing well. Obviously, Jahan got unlucky on Saturday. Sasha got taken out on Sunday.
Yep.
And
Craig David song.
They were doing great. I did love Sasha's clap. That was just like my favourite moment.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
Oh, it's brilliant. And of
yeah.
the newcomers, I think, yeah, Paul Allen did good. He was unlucky to not get into the points. Like Taylor Barnard, Kelvin Vandelier again, and
Yeah.
then yeah, a lot of them really impressed me how quickly they got into it, and even the ones who didn't score, the fact they just avoided chaos is blimmin' impressive, and that's kind of what you need in FE. You need to be fast, but also be able to avoid chaos.
No, indeed you do. Yeah, I was impressed by Paul Aaron. I thought he did a grand job. I thought Taylor, it was shown, and I think the future's bright. And Sasha Fenestraz was having a much better day. It was a bit unlucky. I think he scored points in Saturday's race.
Yeah, he got 9, and
Yeah,
I think that was with a bit of damage or a little collision at the end.
and then obviously
he
was running P7 when Norman hit him, so it was on for a better weekend. He's not had the best of season Sasha's, but I suppose when things like that happen, it's not really his fault. Before we let you go, Saz, anything else that you want to say before we try Natalie one more time?
Anything I want to say? Let me see. Hello, everyone listening. I hope you have a great week. There we go.
Perfect.
That's a nice thing to say.
That's
Hope it's full
lovely.
of front grip.
Yeah, I hope it's full of front grip. Saz is amazing as always. And I look forward to hearing from you again in a couple of weeks' time.
Yay, see you after Shanghai.
See you after Shanghai. Right, let us try Natalie just one last time. And Natalie, can you hear us this time? No.
Here's the cookie.
Sorry.
There we go. There we go. Natalie,
There we go.
Just didn't want to come on the show tonight,
I
did
was
you?
halfway through a cookie and you dragged me in.
Sorry. Was it a good cookie?
Was it? Yeah. What was the cookie?
It was a good cookie. It was a chocolate chip cookie I got out the
Oh,
vending machine at
lovely.
work.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's a
Few
vending
packs for
machine
£1.50.
cookie, right,
I got some
okay.
chocolate chip cookies from the flight. I haven't eaten them yet. I was going to try and eat them today at work, but no, didn't happen.
I bought lots of cakes. I bought lots of cakes for Eurovision, and only a couple of them.
Still not to be eaten. So
we're making our way through them. I went insane. I went Insano's on Friday, and everything was on reduce. I just bought loads of pizzas and lots of cakes.
Perfect.
There we go. Saturday sorted.
Gotta love that. Right, let's to end the show, Natalie. How was Berlin for you? Obviously, mixed results, I suppose.
Not for Taylor Barnard.
Not for Taylor Barnard, 100%. He was the good. He was the good of the mixed results.
He was amazing for saying this is his first full weekend in the Formula E car.
He was class. I must admit, I am astounded by him, and also the fact that he's 19 years old. He does not look 19 in the slightest. 15. That's what I'd say. 15, 16. Definitely for Taylor.
A wonder kid. That's what comes to
kid.
mind.
A wonder kid. Yeah, don't get me on Football Manager phrases. Wonder kids. But yeah, talk to me about Berlin. What did you like about it? What you didn't like about it, or did you love it? What was your thoughts on Berlin?
I was on the edge of my seat the whole time throughout both races. It was just, ooh, don't do this. Ooh, don't do that. Oh my God, what's happening?
But is that like a good edge of your seat or a bad edge of your seat?
Good edge of your seat, because Berlin hasn't been like the races we've had so far this year, in a sense of, oh my God, something's going to happen. You know what I mean?
No, I get that. Like, as I said, I felt it was Sao Paulo was a good peloton. People tell me when I said that Berlin was a good good peloton, whereas I didn't think Misano was the greatest peloton, and obviously I didn't think Portland last year was a great peloton either.
Sao Paulo's clear, and Portland's by far and away the worst for me.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I dislike the races in Berlin, and I maybe the peloton style of racing is just growing on me. I don't know, and I think maybe it's growing on everybody else.
It's what you prefer and what you don't. I think for me, as Formula E evolves, the peloton is going to become more and more popular in styles of racing.
Yeah. So you think? Because I don't know. I thought maybe because of attack charge, but I'm hoping. I like races like London. I know it's a bit boring, but at least it's a motor race. But then there's not much overtaking. Whereas at least I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know.
The thing is, to end the season, we've got the two extremes. We got arguably the strongest peloton of the season in Portland. Then we go to London, which is basically our equivalent, Formula E's equivalent of Monaco, where you can't really overtake unless you do something extremely brave and stupid. Yeah, daring. Daring is the correct word, not brave and stupid. But yeah. But yeah.
100%, 100%. Yeah. I suppose that's it, Natalie. Unless there's anything you want to add, before we go.
I just want to quickly touch on Antonio and him finally getting the win he deserves, because it's been coming the past few races, and he was really unfortunate to have it taken away from him in Misano. But to be fair, had he had the correct fittings in the car, he could have been in championship contention by now, and I think he still will be come the end of the season.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
Maybe. There's still 100.
He
Still
needs
nearly.
to go on a run of form because he's only got half the points of Nick at the moment. But yeah,
There's still just under 200 points to play for. Go on.
Yeah, I wanted to ask because it would be really bad of us if we didn't ask the Envision Racing fan about the two stand-ins. How do you think Paul and Joel did?
Well, Joel got points, which I was not expecting because he hasn't been in the car for 2.5 years. So I was really pleased with that. And then people forget that Paul's a rookie. He hasn't had time. He hasn't had time in the car that other people have. He hasn't had the experience of Gen 3 machinery that Joel's had, with Joel being Jaguar Reserve. So I think both of them did really great.
No, I did. As I said, Paul really impressed
It's also worth pointing out that we might never see Paul in Formula E.
Well, but is he like Pierre Gasly?
No, purely because he can't be used for a rookie test. Because he's done 2 races now.
Yeah, well, that's true.
He can't do rookie. So we saw him in FP1 and FP0 in Misano this weekend. And maybe he'll go on to do brilliant things in F1 like Pierre did. Maybe he'll go off to IndyCar. Maybe he'll go off to WEC, IMSA. Or maybe he'll come back to us. We'll see.
Yeah, that's to end on... Go on, Natalie.
I really hope he does because... Yeah, he's second in F2 right now, but he can only do so many years in F2 before... Not before they kick him out, but he can only do so many years in F2 before he has to move on elsewhere.
I think
so.
No one told Luca Giotto that.
How many seasons did Roy Nissany do? It felt
like
Roy
Nissany. Ralph Boschon, is he still back and about?
Yeah, no, I think he's still there.
There's some people who've just been in F2 for years.
I think he had to withdraw this year due to financial issues. I'm not too sure.
Oh.
But anyway,
obviously Porsche was champion last year, so we can't race this. So he's an IndyCar for McLaren this weekend.
Yeah,
or was it last weekend?
Yeah, I think it was. He definitely was in IndyCar at some point.
Actually, technically, he is available if Sam's can't return because he's a McLaren contracted driver who's not doing the 500.
That would be a good shout. Actually,
Callum Hilot's in for the 500. That was announced today, so maybe. If I were Ian James, I'd be telling Zach to go, yo, can we have
Teo, please?
Teo on stand.
That would be an interesting signing. Although then if you thought that way, you probably would have tried to get him in for the rookie test. But I don't know if there's an IndyCar race this weekend or something like that. But
yes, there was. It was
because Taylor's got a clash with F2 next weekend, so he's either going to have to he's going to have to either withdraw from F2 or McLaren are going to have to get someone else in.
I think he'd if I was Taylor, I'd withdraw from F2 and I'd do
Me
the
too.
race. But I think that makes the most logical sense if that was. But then at the same time, I don't know. Just get Guan Yu Zhou in. Or get a Chinese driver in. You don't have to worry about visas then, I suppose, because that could be the only...
Yeah, that would be the other problem.
Marching Hua!
Get Marching Hua in. No diss on Marching Hua, mate. He did an amazing interview with us for Formula Reason when he was at his time.
He did, back in the day.
Did an amazing...
That was before me.
Yeah.
That's before I joined.
That was
so long ago.
That was a yeah. I've got a lot of respect for Marching well. Got on with him quite well. But I forgot what I was going to say now, Natalie. Cause we've gone off on a tangent.
We've gone off the Formula E piece.
We've gone off on a tangent. I had a question, but I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much for coming on. I know I appreciate you coming from work and trying to get on the
Luckily,
call.
I finished early.
Yeah,
So
I really...
before I go, can I tell you about my little bus mishap?
Of course you
when
can.
we're talking about travel struggles.
Yep, go on.
Right, so I was due to get the bus at 1:05 for work, so I asked my granddad to drop me off at 20 to 1.
Yep.
1:05 bus didn't show up, so I had to get the 2:05 and be 45 minutes late for work.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
It does.
Not as bad as Ryan though, but having to do an extra night in Berlin because his flight was cancelled and was supposed to leave at 11 o'clock and then leaves at 4 p.m. today.
The thing is, the difference with that is that being 45 minutes late for work. Yeah, but
you can text them though. Yeah. Just say, "Look, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
this has happened. There's not much I can do. You know.
Yeah.
Just survive around for 45 minutes."
Luckily, work were very understanding because I did text my agency boss before, but it's just a pain when buses run late.
Yeah, they are. It is a pain. It is a pain.
Yeah.
Trust me, we get enough of them in London. But Natalie, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
Pleasure's mine as always, lads. Can I do the outro, please?
Go on.
Yes. Take us out.
Take us out.
You've been listening to the FE Bar with Jack and Pico. If you want more like this, make sure to like and subscribe down below. You've been watching the FE Bar. We will see you after Shanghai.